Rocking the suit just like Pat McAfee, and just like him, I have to wear the glasses. Pollen is getting to me. Can't really see it in my right eye, so don't want to make any incorrect selections. But one of the biggest days of the year, right? Kardashians episode 3, of course, comes out tonight. Shout out Devin Booker, Kendall Jenner's boyfriend. Hopefully, the man has a speedy recovery through the NBA playoffs. Obviously, now we're here for the NFL draft. How can we make a transition from Kardashians to the NFL? One of the deadliest weapons of all time, O.J. Simpson. Hopefully, we can have players who kill people just like he did. Um, but number one overall, right? Jags, what a great way to transition. Trayvon Walker fits the mold with Trent Baalke likes to do, and all signs are pointing to him. Sorry for the list right there. Number two, Aiden Hutchinson. Most people's number one player in the draft, mine as well. Got the Aiden Hutchinson jersey right there. Keep him in Michigan, right? From Michigan, went to Michigan. Now he goes to Detroit. 3, Texans. Things could get interesting here. Could trade down. But I'm going to go Ika Makwanu. Maybe plays guard for a year. Where he maybe would be a Pro Bowler, but then kicks out the tackle after, maybe something happens with Laramie Tunsil or Titus Howard. 4, the Jets. This is actually a roster that's, gotten a lot better. But I'm going to go Sauce Gardner. You get a shutdown corner, and there's a lot of good receivers in your division, right? Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Stephon Diggs, and in the AFC. And, if you can get that pass rush going and then a shutdown corner, cooking with gas. 5, Giants. I know they've been linked to Charles Cross, but he only played left tackle in college. And I look at Evan Neal, who played right tackle, left tackle, guard, and I just think it makes too much sense. You don't want to, move Andrew Thomas, because he played really well at left tackle. So you pick Evan Neal, who, in my opinion, is the best tackle in the draft. And he, starts right away at right tackle. 6, Panthers. Not going to go quarterback. I'm going to go Charles Cross just because they don't pick again to the 4th round. If they can't trade down, I won't be doing any trades in this draft. I think they have to stick and pick. And, whoever your quarterback would be if you draft, you don't have a left tackle, and that's a big problem. So, you did improve the interior, signing Corbett and Bozeman. And if you can get, Charles Cross, solidify that O-line, get Christian McCaffrey back, maybe get the best out of Darnold or trade for Garoppolo or Baker, maybe this team can be competitive and Rule can save his job. 7, Giants. Bradbury might be on the move this weekend, so I'm going to go Stingley. Maybe the highest potential is just like a bomb dropped in top of my house. But yeah, maybe the highest potential in the draft. And they need corners, and maybe you have one of the best corners in the NFL in the next couple of years if he can pan out to what he was his freshman season. 8, Falcons could certainly go edge, but I'm going to go wide receiver. And I'm going to go Drake London. They really could be any of these 3 guys right here. But I just think of what Julio Jones did for them for so long in that building. And they saw that, right? And you get a big receiver in London who can go up and get it. And anytime he's one-on-one, it's more than a 50-50 ball. And, whoever your future quarterback is, Kyle Pitts in London, that's pretty appealing. 9, Seattle. This is the farthest I see Thibodeau falling. Track record shows they take edge rushers in the 1st round over corners, and I don't think there's a corner there even worth taking. But Oregon not too far from Seattle, Washington, so I think that is a good pick and a good fit for Thibodeau. But 10, Wilson to Wilson connection. My opinion, the best receiver in the draft, Zach Wilson. Get him another weapon. Drafted Elijah Moore in the 2nd round. Corey Davis in free agency last year. So now your wide receiver room is also looking pretty good. Washington 11. Would you pass up Jameson Williams here? Maybe, maybe not. A lot of people's approach with this team has kind of been like, let's be the most competitive because Rivera's window isn't that long. That's why they traded for Wentz. And Williams might not play right away. He'll be back, but I just think Olave makes sense because I think there's, I'm trying to do this predictive wise, and no one knows what's going to happen. So I think there's a real chance Jameson Williams goes in the top 10, and then I think you would settle Olave at 11. Vikings at 12. I think this would be a trade down spot, but not doing any trades. I'm going to go Trent McDuffie. Really need help at corner, and I think he could be one of the best slot cornerbacks in the NFL right away. But just really clean tape. Good dude, and maybe they could trade down and get some more assets and still pick him, but sticking and picking is what I'm gonna go with. 13, Texans come away with Ika Makwanu at 3 and Jermaine Johnson at 13. That's a pretty great haul. And, Lovie Smith or Jermaine Johnson can maybe get after it on that defensive line. 14, Ravens. They love their big dudes. Of course, they got Brock Calais Campbell back, but, Jordan Davis just fits exactly what they want to do. He reminds me of, just looking at him like Michael Orr, but on the defensive line. And he's just such a freak athlete. And he could maybe become, one of the best defensive linemen in the NFL the way Baltimore can develop some of those guys. Eagles at 15, run up the card. Jameson Williams out of Alabama. He did pretty well shopping out of Alabama last year, getting Devontae Smith. And so now, you have Devontae Smith, incredible route runner, and now you have one of the best deep threats in the NFL in Jameson Williams, 16. So is this maybe a reach? Sure. But, teams like Trevor Penning, converted wide receiver, tight end, now tackle. And the, Chargers really need a tackle as well. And they pick right behind you, so I don't think you could pass up Trevor Penning here, knowing that the Chargers would probably take him. And this is maybe one that's going to surprise people, but Kyer Elam, who I'm actually a big fan of, I think is one of the most underrated players in the draft. Jameson Williams said he's the best corner he faced. He played really well last season and the year before that. He's been getting a lot of first-round buzz lately. Chargers want another corner. I think it makes sense, and Asante Samuel could be really good in the slot as well. Of course, brought J.C. Jackson in as well, so now you have 3 really good corners. 18, Eagles. Is this the best player available? Yeah, I think you would say so. And now you get Kyle Hamilton fall all the way at 18, who some people think is the number 1 player in the draft, and you get him at 18. That's absolutely great value. 19, Saints. Another kind of maybe, surprising one. I'm going to go with receiver, and it's not going to be Traylon Burks. It's going to be Jahan Dotson. I just think when you have Michael Thomas, he maybe fits a little better, just opposite-wise, than Michael Thomas does. 20, Steelers. First quarterback off the board, Malik Willis. They love him. That's what I think, how many guys came to his pro day. The connection there with Mike Tomlin just... I think it makes too much sense, and doesn't have to start right away either. This is a big surprising one. So Devin Lloyd available, has the length that they covet, but I'm not going to go Devin Lloyd. I'm not going to go Nakobe Dean. I'm going to go Quay Walker out of Georgia. Some teams really like this guy, and they think if he played on the edge, he could have double-digit sacks, just like we saw Micah Parsons, who did play linebacker as well. But Quay Walker, this just seems like a New England pick. And I think there's a good chance he's the first linebacker off the board. Packers at 22. Is there a chance this team doesn't take a first-round receiver? Yeah, I really think so because they haven't in a long time. But I think you got to go Traylon Burks. He's a good run blocker for a team that's going to run the ball a lot. And I just think he is just a great fit. 23, Cardinals. I think you maybe should take interior offensive line here. But George Karlaftis, you need that edge rush group is now really bad without Chandler Jones. And, J.J. Watt there can maybe teach him a thing or two. And Karlaftis, kind of fits what they want to do, just with that mentality. And so you take him at 23. Cowboys at 24. This is an interesting one because this is a team that's been rumored to be wanting to trade up. Not sure what that would be for. But I'm going to go Zion Johnson. Considered to be, by a lot of people, maybe the best interior offensive lineman, maybe the best guard in the draft. Has center flexibility as well. You lost Connor Williams, so maybe he plays left guard right away, and then, could play center as well, and maybe even play tackle if you needed him to. Just a really versatile offensive lineman that's really good. 25, Bills. It just makes sense, right, for their offense to get a weapon that can just complete the offense. Breece Hall. Best running back in the class, And the thing with Breece Hall is, 220 pounds, right? You look at all the running backs in the league. Nick Chubb, Derrick Henry, Jonathan Taylor, A.J. Dillon, Joe Mixon. There's not a ton of running backs that aren't that big anymore that are putting up big numbers or that are staying healthy, right? Dalvin Cook, Christian McCaffrey, Kamara this year. All these guys are, the wear and tear, it's getting to them at a younger age, and they just don't stay healthy as much. You have Devin Singletary and Zach Moss as well, so he can limit some touches, and then maybe this is a guy that just could explode in the playoffs. Titans at 26, I've been seeing a lot of this too. I'm not sure if they have him at tackle or interior offensive line. Um, but I am going to go Tyler Smith. You know, I mean, he's just a freak. And if he's not the, biggest bully in the class, he's the second biggest bully behind Ika Mkwanu. And he fits exactly what the Titans want to do. $27. I'm going to go Lewis Seen. Been getting a lot of first round hype. Georgia safety, who's, maybe see your Jordan Whitehead replacement who went to the Jets. Certainly, I could see that. Packers at 28. I'm going to go Devin Lloyd. Maybe the best player available at this point. You did bring back Devondre Campbell, but it's just a fit for what they like out of their linebackers. And, is Campbell a long-term option? Maybe, maybe not. But Devin Lloyd, having those two guys in the middle, that's one of the best maybe linebacking crews in the NFL. 29 Chiefs. This is one that I'm going to count, like, if I get one of these picks correct, but it's just not at 29 or 30, and they do, stay back-to-back. It doesn't, you still got it right. So that's what I'm going to consider. And I'm going to go George Pickens with one of them. I actually think he might be the most talented wide receiver in the class. I think he's the second best receiver in the class. Maybe there are some maturity issues, but the kid's got talent. Missed most of the season this year due to injury. But 2020 tape, a lot of people thought he'd be the best receiver in the class. And, he goes to Kansas City, who just lost Tyreek Hill. He could have easily over 1,000 receiving yards. And then at 30, I'm going to go edge. They have Frank Clark. Well, what's a comp that a lot of people have from Boye Mafe? It is Frank Clark. And so now you can kick Chris Jones inside as well. And, you really help your pass rush. And then you help your Patrick Mahomes, your quarterback, and your wide receiver group as well. Bengals 31. This is the guy that's been getting a lot of hype recently. I'm not sure if he's listed at interior defensive line or edge, and he is interior. Logan Hall can kind of move all around the defensive line, just like Peyton Turner snuck into the draft last year from Houston. Logan Hall also from Houston, right? Could do the same thing. 32. Well, I'm blanking on names right now, but Matt Campbell. There you go. Dan Campbell wants a guy that can make the impact right away. And that is Kenny Pickett. Is the ceiling as high? Maybe not. And you're like, well, we have Jared Goff, right? I think Jared Goff isn't actually as bad as some people think, but, and they're like, well, why would you take a quarterback who maybe doesn't have as high as a ceiling? Because it's not just Kenny Pickett versus Jared Goff. It's Kenny Pickett versus the other, 20, 25, 30 million that you can use with Kenny Pickett versus what you're paying Jared Goff, who you can move off of in a year. So I think that pick makes sense a lot. I think Pickett could be the first quarterback taken off the board still. I think he could go at number 6 overall. I think he could go to the Steelers. Those are the two teams that make the most sense to me. And then a dark horse team to take a quarterback would be the Titans as well. But here the draft is now loaded. This is my first round final mock draft, and the draft is going to start in about, less than 2 hours. I was not able to get all my rankings out, but, it's going to be a dead zone a little bit for the NFL, and so I'll finish those up and show them to you guys, and I'm not going to base them off where guys are picked. I'm going to be honest, and I'll show you my rankings, and, it'll be cool to project, in a couple years if I was right or wrong. Obviously going to have some misses and hopefully have some hits. But I hope you guys enjoy the draft tonight, and I'll be making some more future videos. Peace.